Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Welcome to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. I'm Kelly Mesher-Collins at the Diocese of Des Moines. On today's show, we're visiting with Father Raphael Assamah, pastor of St. Theresa Parish in Des Moines. Father Raphael was recently recognized by the House of Representatives at the Iowa State Capitol with a resolution honoring him for his dedication and service to the residents of Hamburg, Iowa during the floods of 2019, followed by the challenges of rebuilding during the COVID pandemic. Father Raphael is from the Diocese of Accra, Ghana, but they gave him the title of honorary Iowan. So before we get to today's interview, let's find out what's on the Bishop's mind.
And Father Raphael is always worth a conversation, but on that occasion, I think it kind of catalyzes being here. But again, Kelly, the opportunity to be out and about, so many marvelous things here on the Feast of Our Lady of Fatima. And, we know we, in March, on the Feast of the Annunciation, consecrated Russia and Ukraine to the Mary and to Immaculate Heart, but also in her patronage of her title of Our Lady of Fatima. And so very conscious of Mary's maternal tenderness, but her maternal fierceness too, that she wants her children to be united and reconciled, and to call us to justice, the justice that her son embodied as he offered the dead for the Father. So many people suffering, so many refugees fleeing. And again, the Polish people do stand out in terms of their receptivity. Always there's going to be criticism and naysayers, those who say, well, are you as receptive to immigrants from other countries as well? So I think it's a chance for them, for all of us to take spiritual stock. But thinking about Our Lady of Fatima, looking forward to next year, 2023, with World Youth Day and the contingent going to Lisbon for World Youth Day. So I've only changed planes in Lisbon, never been there, never been to the Fatima Shrine. So young people, obviously the expanded notion and the Pope's view and the 18 to 35-year-olds, but obviously we'll have the opportunity to go to the Shrine of Our Lady of Fatima. Thinking about all things in the kind of Spanish-speaking sphere and Portuguese as well. But there was, the crises that we face can exact a toll on us. And there's a Spanish psychiatrist who's also a man of faith, Kelly, who has some wise words for us.
Sure, yeah. He's the director of the Spanish Institute of Psychiatrics. He talked about, the toll that the isolation took on people.
This is Dr. Enrique Rojas, right?
Sure. Yep, that's correct. And good memory there. So, he believes that faith plays an important role in the life of the person. And, he said, quote, it's very difficult to maintain life. And I'm talking about an open spirituality. He says, without that, life is very hard. He says the church has three great examples of different spiritualities in the last three popes. John Paul II was a man of the masses, Benedict an intellectual. And he says Francis is a very complete man, very dedicated to the poor, definitely the Pope of this time. So we talked about the world's polarization and a growing individualization, and that people live in bubbles. And it's, we have all this technology at hand where you feel like you have access to people, but it essentially separates us because, you don't get together in person because you feel like you're connected via technology. So,
but it just doesn't cut it for us, right? Our hearts yearn for more.
We are people.
Yeah. So,
persons.
the diverse means that we have, but they don't necessarily point us to what our hearts are yearning for most. Yeah. Yeah. I never, to think about the three, the present and the two predecessor popes as kind of emblematic of a spirituality or dynamism, and they're each in their own right. Obviously, Benedict is, continuing to write amazingly on occasion, but, obviously I think the reflective thought, but Pope Francis, sometimes a provocative figure in many ways, and I don't think he shies away from that. But I think he's calling us to our senses to move beyond the throwaway culture and ultimately to promote a culture of encounter, which we try to embrace too. I'll be out on Saturday, tomorrow, to the Catholic Youth Camp, kind of celebrating all that's happened in the renovation and the revitalization of that. Of course, it's kind of bittersweet as we will have to bid adieu very soon in a couple months to Alex Kautsky, who will be going off, and we've talked about that. But let's just celebrate her presence here and the tremendous good work that she has done to bring that to a new chapter in its history. So very grateful to Alex. We'll be out to Holy Rosary in Glenwood, the Basilica of St. John, and then the Baccalaureate Mass at St. Albert Catholic School on Wednesday the 18th. So looking forward to touching base with and engaging all those communities.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll visit with Father Raphael Assamah, pastor of St. Theresa Parish in Des Moines. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
Hello, this is Steve Raid, inviting you to join me along with Matt Wilcom and Father P.J. McManus for the Iowa Catholic Radio's 15th anniversary pilgrimage to the Holy Land, November 11th through the 20th, 2023. We'll have Mass and dinner on the shores of the Sea of Galilee and visit the upper room where Jesus instituted the Holy Eucharist. Plus, my wife Janet and I will be offering invigorating teaching along the way. Not all pilgrimages are created equal. Brochures and details available at iowacatholicradio.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by Knights of Columbus, Borman, and Pfeiffer agencies serving the Catholic families in Iowa. Knights of Columbus is a fraternal benefit society providing financial security to members and their families, specializing in life insurance, long-term care insurance, disability income insurance, retirement annuities, and you can reach Knights of Columbus field agent Dan Ginther at 563-689-6801. That's 563-689-6801. Thank you, and God bless.
Welcome back to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. On today's show, we are back with Father Raphael Assamah. My apologies for mispronouncing there earlier.
No problem.
He is a pastor at St. Theresa Parish in Des Moines. Father Raphael was recently recognized by the House of Representatives at the Iowa State Capitol with a resolution honoring him for his dedication and service to the residents of Hamburg, Iowa, during the floods of 2019. Then he was followed that up by the challenges of the COVID pandemic. Father Raphael is from the Diocese of Accra, Ghana, and they gave him the honorary Iowan title.
Yeah, we the last one to shine a light on himself in your humility and modesty. Even as you radiate joy, Father Raphael. Kelly. If the St. Teresa's school kids are going to be listening to this at some point, you come in wearing the St. Teresa's green colors. Kind of evocative.
He said he's not he's from Father Raphael. He's not a Ninja Turtle.
He's not a Ninja Turtle. Yeah, but he's got superpowers. He does.
Right.
So. Forgive sins and bring the Eucharistic miracle. And transform things. So it's been such a blessing to get to know you. Obviously, you, Father James Ahankara from the same Archdiocese of Accra. Accra, a pretty metropolitan area, right? Is it bigger than New York City, or is it the size of it?
It's quite smaller.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite smaller than New York City.
All right, but it's quite the metropolitan area, isn't it? Accra?
Yeah, it's a metropolitan area.
With how many million people present?
Well, it should be close to maybe 20 million.
Huh?
I mean, that's the population.
It's...
I'd say that's
more people
watching New York City.
Because Accra seems to be industrial area.
Mm-hmm.
We have more people flocking to the city, so it's very populated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And did you grow up in a very urban environment then?
Yeah, I grew up in Accra. I was born and bred in Accra, everything in Accra.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I happened to attend my high school outside Accra.
Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you for correcting my pronunciation also.
Oh, no.
Accra.
Yeah, so everything was in Accra till I went to high school.
Mm-hmm.
Then I also
public
went
or parochial high school? Public or parochial?
No, it was in a parochial high school.
Okay. Yeah. And even thoughts of priesthood then, or did that arise later?
Well, so the whole thing was that when I wanted to go to the priesthood, so I have to go to a particular school.
Mm-hmm.
So that I could take certain courses to enable me to enter the seminary.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a building technology, but what are you going to do with that in a seminary?
We can figure out lots of things to do.
Well, eventually, throughout my seminary life, I was the building contractor in terms of helping with the maintenance work for the number of years I was in the seminary.
Mm-hmm.
Even after the seminary, they were still chasing me for some work.
Okay.
So I did those courses just to help me to get the necessary requirement.
Okay.
Yeah.
And philosophy can be useful sometimes, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I still use those knowledge.
Yeah. And maybe some of these skills God was forming in you came in handy in Hamburg, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
But the path, both for you and Father James, ultimately your Archbishop was willing to release you, first not to the States, but to Jamaica. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we volunteered to go to Jamaica for 3 years. And it
wasn't just to see the world. I mean, you kind of had the missionary spirit, and
Well, I don't know that of Father James Ahinkra, but mine is quite different in a sense that when I was discerning the ministry, I joined the SVD, the missionaries.
Okay, the Divine
Word missionary.
Yeah.
Then I got to know that when you are ordained as a priest, because you become a missionary, you don't work in your own country. Then I said, goodbye. I want to work in my own country. So I continued to ask, and I was told that, okay, if I want to work in my own country, then I should join the diocesan priesthood. Mm-hmm. So I switched from the SVD at the beginning, then I joined the diocesan. Mm-hmm. Then apparently
they were happy to receive you. They didn't say, "Oh no, you're damaged goods." If you can't be religious.
Yeah, but they didn't know my intention. Why I joined. Of course, I wanted to be a priest, even though they wanted to accept me as a brother. For the SVD because of my technical background. But I said I want to celebrate Mass. That's all I was looking for. Then I became a priest for the Archdiocese of Accra. For 5 years I served, and 8-9 years I have been outside. You see?
God's sense of humor.
I said I wanted to be a priest and work in my country, and now here I am working more outside.
I know well the plans I have for you.
That's good.
Yeah, and Jamaica was obviously more challenging on lots of levels with the poverty and the kind of pluralism of culture and religion, and sometimes the syncretism too, the blending of.
Yeah. It was quite challenging, but also nice to minister to the people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that talks to your pastor's heart. And then the Diocese of Des Moines, and you're asked to go to St. Mary Hamburg, St. Mary Shenandoah. Is that right?
So that was my first appointment.
Okay.
2016.
Yeah, you did Bishop Pates court the both of you, or did you make him a proposal he couldn't refuse?
No, he told us. I remember that very call in New York when Bishop Pates asked, "Can you please come and see the place?" And I said, "No, Bishop. I don't want to come." So that he said, "Do you come? Let the people see you." I said, "No, Bishop, I won't come. I just want to come finally."
Oh, okay. All
so
right.
he wanted me to come and have a look at the place to see whether I like it, whether the people like it or not. Then I said, "No. I'll go back to Jamaica, then I'll come finally."
Oh, so you had a little leverage in this whole thing then.
Yeah,
huh? You could prescribe the terms.
Yeah.
Not many times does that happen with Bishop Pates, I suspect.
Yeah, but he said something which was quite passionate because Father James and I were planning to go back home or to go to Canada. Then Bishop Pates said he has 2 priests who have retired and they are still holding on. And there seems to be no one to replace them. Mm-hmm. So we are waiting for you to come. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, we better hurry up and go. That was quite touching.
So, yeah, okay. So the tug on your heart. And by all rights, a very happy bond between you and your people. But the crisis, and then suddenly all these technical skills become very handy, too. So you'd been there how long when the floods of 2019 hit?
I was there for about 2.5 years, yeah.
2.5 years. So you really...
I think it happened in 2019. I was there 2016. So
okay.
Let me say, latter part of 2016 when I was there.
Okay. And you'd establish yourself, obviously, with the people at St. Mary's Hamburg, with whom I've been fortunate to be with twice in the last month.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can see how they can win your heart. What were your hopes as a small community? Were there other challenges that they were facing at the time, that were not, more natural or meteorological, if you will? Yeah.
Well, I think... I don't really know much of the challenge when I got there, but as a priest, there were certain things I was thinking about. The first one is there's going to be affiliation and disaffiliation because they have had a priest for 11 years whom they loved and he has left. So some will still be holding on to the priest. They would like to compare the previous priest to the new one, you see. So I told them that we are unique, we are different, And I think they were using the same vocabularies on me. I am unique. I am different. Mm-hmm. So don't compare me with the other priests. We all have different talents and gifts. So I listen to them and I try to do what they want to do, as long as it's good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So basically, my leadership was by influence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and I think you do have a very winning personality. I mean, I think your humanity is just so evident, and people of all ages, including children, I think just gravitate to you. But I think that's something, and we think about the next round of priest changes coming up in July. You're staying put, thankfully.
Okay.
No more moves. You had that massive move last year, and it was not something you had sought. But thank you for your docility to the Spirit, and hopefully
we listen to the Holy Spirit through our bishops.
But I think that's that every priest brings certain gifts, and is going to touch and is sent at that time that God has anointed under human circumstances, certainly, but and we'll connect with certain people, maybe more than others. But in the life of a parish and any individual member of the faithful, that there'll be certain priests that just really open us up to the mystery in a new way. So then the flood hits, and what's running through your mind?
Well, I think I remember that very day. It was on a Sunday when we're told. So I had a 6:30 Mass. That was in Shenandoah. Then the next one was supposed to be in Hamburg, 8:30. So when I finished and I was planning to go, they told me not to come because of the flood. I said, wow. I knew the flood was supposed to come, but not that very morning. So I went back, and then I had a break. So I had a 10:30 Mass, and some of them from Hamburg came. So after the Mass, I said, okay, let me still go to Hamburg, because there wasn't anything. They said, oh, Father, the flood. I said, no, I'm still coming. So that very Sunday, I went to Hamburg to the church. I went to the secretary, Sheriff Phillips, to go and look at the church. Then I said a little prayer. So I saw that they packed all the things from the basement to the church and some to the old rectory. Then I left. There was no sign of any flood. People were packing and moving things. You could see the fear, the anxiety.
The streets were dry.
Yes, everything was dry. That was on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. So in the night and the next morning, which was Monday, the whole place was flooded. So I couldn't go there.
The levee had been breached? Or?
Yes, it was beyond. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't go there on that Monday. I went on Tuesday afternoon to a different route. We have to use the bluff, which is heading towards Nebraska, then go to the back and climb the hill. Then you can see the church and other buildings. So that's how the whole thing was.
And what were your emotions when you beheld that scene?
Well, I was quite surprised. I have seen places being flooded before, but I didn't expect to see anything like that. Even though they talk about the 1993 flooding, which was very devastating, then 2011, which was quite mild, but that one was very massive. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And was the water, the current was very swift or not? Was it just kind of standing water you could walk through, or was it something?
Well, it was standing water you could walk through, but very high, because there were places I've walked through, but you couldn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you couldn't.
Yeah, because you're a dynamo, but you're 5'7" tall. As the legislative resolution notes your height,
They increased my height.
Yeah, did they?
No, because I always want to grow tall.
You could play point guard, but you're not going to be posting.
Yeah, because I wanted to grow tall, so maybe they increased my height for me. It's 5'3".
5'3"?
Yeah, I think
so.
Oh, wow.
Wow, all the more. So, were people in distress? Were you consoling people, or what things did you feel prompted to do? In various stages.
Yeah. So the first action that we took was to find out those who have been affected, our parishioners who were affected. Then how can we help them? So that was the first action plan we took. Then also to visit and talk to them. So I was making a lot of calls And we were making calls to people to find out how they were doing and also their families. So basically, that's what we were doing, to reach out to them. Some were living in motels, so you have to go and see them. Who were going through trauma. So I remember a couple, I would go and talk, then I would leave and go back to Hamburg. Then they'll call me again and say the husband is not feeling well because of this, so you have to rush back. Mm-hmm. So more or less dealing with their emotional needs. And then trying to give them hope that, yes, your place is flooded, but you have life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Were any lives lost or not?
Not that I'm aware of, but people lost their properties, especially the farmlands, the basement. Mm-hmm. The whole place was flooded.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the rectory as well for the church?
Yeah, the old rectory was destroyed. Water didn't go to the top, but the basement, the church too, water in the basement, a lot of water. I couldn't believe it after 2 weeks when I went there.
But it did not make it into the nave itself of the church or anything?
No.
Okay. That's very beautiful.
Yeah, it was at the steps. I think the second step to the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So then we're coming up on the break here very shortly, but were disaster relief, FEMA and others, were you one of the people they were engaging or, talking about, who are your people that need help or anything or?
Yeah, when we identified those who needed help, Catholic Charity also came down to help, to talk to the people. They brought us some things. Then also FEMA also stepped in. Mm-hmm. So that's where I saw the power of the pen. I have to be signing people's documents.
Very good. We look to hear more.
We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by the Sarah Vocations Ministry, including the St. Sarah Club of Des Moines and the Sarah Club of Council Bluffs. Sarah is an apostolate of the Worldwide Catholic Church dedicated to fostering and supporting priesthood and religious vocations. Sarahans strive to accomplish their mission through prayer, fellowship, and service to the bishop, priests, sisters, and all in religious formation, and in doing so to increase their own holiness. Learn more at joinsarah.org, joinserra.org. Thank you, Sarahans, for your support of Iowa Catholic Radio.
Iowa Catholic Radio welcomes Scotty McCreery with special guest Ali Colleen. Sunday, July 24th at the Iowa Event Center Ballroom. Tickets and information available at celebratecountry.org. Sponsored by Ball Team.
Welcome back to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. We are back with Father Raphael Assamah of St. Theresa Parish in Des Moines.
So, the power of the pen you mentioned, do you feel like Joseph in Egypt, getting people through a crisis, and
Yeah, it was more than that because sometimes we are short of words, when people are traumatized, they have lost almost everything. Your presence is good, but you don't know what word to use. And you don't want to say anything that may trivialize their situation.
Or over-spiritualize it, too.
Yes, yes. So that's it. And I remember visiting a family who lost everything on their farmland. Their grains were gone. So that is their livelihood. And what word will you use?
And no insurance is going to recoup that.
Well, some had insurance, some do not. And sometimes, without any prejudice to some of the insurance companies, it's only when you have a problem that they tell you that you're not covered with this.
Your fellow Christians were very hospitable and charitable with you all.
Yeah.
How so? How did they...
Well, people donated a lot of things that we needed. You could see the presence of people. The other churches came together, so we took turns to cook and serve the communities that were affected. And it was nice, always to be there, to help in serving, and all the churches did well.
And you were given hospitality for worship, too, to celebrate Mass.
Yes. So we had Mass throughout, except the very day, that Sunday. So the following week, we went to the elementary school in Sydney, where we had a small space in the classroom, and they came in their numbers. So, it was in a Lenten season, and, Lent is very thematic. Maybe you're talking about temptation, the transfiguration, and that. But I have to weave in words of inspiration, words of motivation, and give them hope. So which was very hard, but the Holy Spirit helped me. So people will come and go relieved because I have to lay something on their heart. So we went to Sydney Elementary School for 2 weeks. Then we went to the Baptist Church in Hamburg. So the plan was that all the churches came together so that we can have, a service. But, as Catholics as we are, we still want to remain Catholic. So I said, well, let's have our Mass first. Then we can join them, you see. So we will have our normal Mass. Then after that, we join the rest of the community. And of course, I have to rush back to Shenandoah.
Okay, all right.
So we're in the Baptist church throughout till Divine Mercy Sunday.
Did it? Wow, how fitting! How fitting!
Yeah.
Right.
So
did any of your parishioners become Baptist in all of this?
Well, I was telling them that they look quite comfortable, and I remember saying that it's like you people are becoming Catholic Baptists, and I said, well, they all agree that okay, it's better we go back, and we decided to leave on Divine Mercy Sunday. There was no light at that time. We just had 1 or 2 bulbs working. There was no air conditioning, but we have to endure it for about 3 months, 6 months.
Yeah. You and then the call, which in my own discernment, it was very hard for me to pull you away, but the call and the need to be at St. Teresa's in Des Moines, which you graciously accepted, and so I imagine your own range of emotions with that. But the bond is still there, obviously, and the people who wanted to recognize you, and including, some of the people at St. Teresa's helped to facilitate this recognition, which you did not seek from the state legislature. Yeah, commending that honor. So, and I was fortunate when I had confirmation. Your personal love for those people obviously drew you back resulting in a late night drive back to Des Moines. But just to celebrate with those young people who you've accompanied in so many ways. So, any last 10-second thoughts?
Well, I think I still feel the presence and love of the people in Hamburg. They are so wonderful. They continue to reach out to me, and they visit a lot. Anytime they're in town, they visit. So that also became a threat to those in St. Teresa's, because like almost every weekend I have to introduce somebody from Hamburg or Shenandoah continuously.
Well, good. And that sense of diocesan solidarity, which the parish is, obviously supporting the Faith Formation Center as well. So unfortunately, we've run out of time, Father Raphael, but thank you so much for this. And God continues to bless and anoint your work. So thank you.
Thank you, Bishop, and thank you, everyone.
You can hear Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen every week on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Making It Personal is provided by Sarah Vocations Ministry. Learn more at joinserra.org.